Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Lewis coming to you with office hours today. I'm going to do two components of this. One is answer a question the student posed related to how to do the percent of accounts receivable. And I'm going to do two of the quiz access problems, one 712, and then I forget what the other one is. It's problem really 9, and 10 of the quiz access. And I'm also going to do the review of exam 3 and do the top missed questions on that for reference in the future. So with that, and then if somebody joins while I'm doing this, I'll address any questions then as well. So let's look at this first one. This is well, that doesn't help. This is problem 9, which is exercise 712. Okay, and classic method, I'm going to do this without the answer, and then I will see if I got it right. And if I didn't, what could have been done different? All right, so in this problem, we're given that at the end of December 31st, they have a accounts receivable balance. Let's put that here, AR of $72,000. And it estimates that 5% is going to be uncollectible. Uncollectible. Okay. And that's 5%. All right, so right off the bat, we can calculate what the allowance for doubtful accounts should be. So we'll just put allowance, and this would be that minus, that times the 5%. So we're looking to hit an ending balance of $3,600 for the year. All right. Now it says prepare a year-end adjusting entry to record bad debt expense under the assumption that the allowance already has these balances. Okay, so if you look at it in a couple of ways, right? Let's first do a T account. Let's do allowance. And I won't write the whole thing. Allowance for doubtful accounts, right? So we have a debit and we have a credit. And this is A. This is scenario A, okay? So let's do a little T account here real quick. Let me make these equal because I'm a little anal about that. Okay, and we'll center these across here, and we'll center this one across here. I like to do my centering a little differently, so I can always center across the section. So there we go. And we'll just do a couple of lines here for grins. And then we'll do just a total line down here at the bottom. Okay. So we know that the allowance for doubtful accounts, we want it to be, I think, let's see, allowance for doubtful accounts should be, for receivables, should end up being a debit. I think, if I remember right, should be a debit because we're reducing accounts receivable. So we want it to be, no, accounts receivable is a debit. Sorry, I'm still waking up. Accounts receivable is a debit. So we want to make sure that the ending balance for accounts receivable is $3,600. So let's just make this equal to this component right here. And right now it has a $1,224 balance. So we want to get a journal entry that takes us from a credit balance of $1,224 to a debit balance of $3,600. Okay, so this is what is it, current? We'll just call it a journal entry. Okay, is what we need. So in this case, we're going to make this equal to $3,600 minus the $1,224. Okay, so $23.76 is what we need the allowance to be in this case. Now, if we copy this over here, let's make this B. Okay, and we really don't have to change the things here. Okay, so we still want this to equal the 3,600, right? But in this case, the current balance is a debit of 360. All right, so we want to make sure that this right here, that we make whatever adjustment gets us to, and let's go ahead and make equal sum. Let's just show this also, right? Well, there's not going to be a balance there, sorry. That's not what I'm thinking. All right, so we want to make sure that there's an adjustment on the credit side that compensates for the $3,600, $360, and gets us to 360. So what we're going to have to do is really add these two together on this one. We're going to take the 3,600, and instead of subtracting, we're going to add the 360. So because we need a number, an adjustment that zeroes out the 360 and then gets us to a balance of 3,600. Okay, so that's going to be our journal entry. So our journal entries then, if we look at them right here, if we have a date, an account, a debit, and a credit, ignore the, we're going to have a bad debt expense. Let's call this A. I'm going to call this a reference instead. So this is A. We're going to have a bad debt expense of, in A, we're going to have a bad debt expense of 2376 and an allowance for doubtful accounts of 2376. And then for B, we're going to just take this same thing, let's say. For B, it's going to be bad debt expense. Still bad debt expense, but it's going to be 3960, and the allowance is going to be 3960. Okay. So that's what our journal entry is going to look like. Now let's just see how we did. Okay, well, let's make this a little smaller. There we go. Bad debt expense for A is 2376. Bad debt expense and allowance is 3960. Okay, so that's how you do this, assuming that there's already a balance in the allowance for doubtful accounts. Okay, you do the calculation of the percent, and then you make the adjustments. Now, there's another scenario in the quiz access, and it asks you to do it. I'll look at it a little differently. Okay, so let's look at that real quick. This one's not too bad, if I remember right. Okay, so it gives you the information here, and then asks you to calculate the receive. What does it say? Here's the data. So let's just go ahead and replicate this data real quick. Make this bigger. Move this up. Move this down, hopefully. Well, so there you go. Move that. Okay, so we have an aging of 0, 1 to 30. Let's not do that. 1 to 30. 31 to 60. 61 to 90. Should be 91. They have over 90. Okay, over 90. All right. So we have 397. We have 91,000, 37,000, 19,000, 31,000. This should all equal a total, and we'll do a check, and so that we verify our values here. It's 575. That's good. They have a 2% here, 3% here, 6% here, 8% here, 11% here. So what you're going to end up doing, so this is the total, well, AR percent uncollectible, right? And then dollars uncollectible. All right. So just take these numbers, that times this, I'm going to copy this over since it's the same formula. And then we're going to take this and copy it down since it's the same formula as well. So this is what our value should be. Now, if I haven't seen what the, what the question is, but let's just say that it's probably going to ask you for a journal entry, and it's probably going to give you an allowance balance already. Okay, so let's just tee this up real quick. Let's just take this. Actually, let's take all this. Let's take all this and copy it and then just move it over here. All right, and let's just see what they give us. So we know that this balance, we want it to equal that. We don't know what this is. Let's assume for now that they are going to have a credit balance in here. And let's just go ahead and drop this in, be equal that, and this be equal that. Okay, so we have it kind of queued up. Let's see what they are going to ask. Complete the table below to calculate the estimated balance of the allowance for doubtful accounts using the aging of accounts receivable. Okay, so that's going to be this number. All right. Prepare the adjusting entry to record bad debts expense using the estimate from Part A, assuming the unadjusted balance in the allowance for doubtful accounts is $3,700 credit. Okay, so this is very similar to that, right? So this should be B, and it looks like they have one for debit. So we're going to do the same thing on here. Let's just go ahead and bring this over since we've already done this. Okay, and under B, it's going to be a $200 debit. So we've already got this set up. We just need to make sure that this equals that. And now we should have C. Okay. Remember, on this part, we've already done it. So we know the logic, depending on how things go. Uncollectible balance is based on the percentage of each aging of the receivable. So we know that's what the balance should be at the end. So now all of our journal entries should be pretty straightforward. That one's for A, and this one's for B. Oops. Copy, paste, make this B, and this amount should equal that. Right? Okay, so we should have everything in here. What the adjustments are, what the balances should be. Okay, so let's see if we got that right. Oh, they just did this by thing. So we already had the 7940, 23.7, 2730, 2220, 1520, 3410, and a total of 17,820. Okay, so we got that right. And it is a credit. We know that just because allowance for uncollectibles is a credit balance. It's a contra account on the asset side. Okay, and then let's look at B. Does B similar to what we got? So bad debt expense, 14,120 and 18,020. Okay, so that's how we do problem number 10. Now I think it also asks for 11. Oh, this is this would be if you just use a flat 4% for everything. Okay. So same process, just different way of approaching it. So in this one, 11, let's just copy this and do a little differently. Okay. So move or copy, we're going to copy to the end. Okay. And instead of doing this gyration, let's just do this as a 4% total, right? So equals that times this should give you the 2,300, right? That's that number. And then all these other values should change accordingly since we've done that. So let's see if, we need to adjust the numbers based on this 12,100 and 100. Okay, so these should be the values 10,9 and 24,1. Okay, So there's a couple different ways that they've done the percent of receivables. One is by the aging groups, and the other one is by total. Either way, once you have this, T account type scenario set up, one where it's a credit balance and one where it's a debit balance, you have a quick way of creating your adjusting value and then your journal entry right here. Okay. So with that, that gives you number 9 and 10 if you happen to watch this before you take the quiz and you have a little extra oomph in your step. Let me know if you have any questions. I will pause here and then